Liver in danger. 25 foods you should avoid immediately. Are you really taking care of your liver, or do you just believe you are? This silent and tireless organ performs more than 500 vital functions every day, and it might be getting sabotaged by choices that seem harmless. The problem: when symptoms show up, the damage is already done. There are foods present in most people's daily lives that carry devastating potential. They inflame, overload, and silently destroy the liver's natural defenses. And it's not just about obvious excesses or exaggerations. Many of these villains hide exactly where you least expect, in the details, in habits, in the innocent, everyday stuff. And that's what I'm going to show you today. There are 25 common foods that, over time, contribute to serious conditions like fatty liver, chronic inflammation, and liver failure. Are you unknowingly poisoning yourself? And most importantly, what can still be changed in time? Get ready to discover truths that can transform your health and protect your body against invisible threats, starting with what's on your plate. So come with me. Number 25. Diet, desserts, and artificial sweeteners. They promise to be friends of health, but hide dangerous traps for the liver. Diet or zero-sugar desserts, which use sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, are seen as healthy options for those wanting to cut calories. However, these artificial compounds are processed differently by our body, and the liver pays the price. That's because the liver has to deal with these synthetic molecules, forcing it to divert energy from other important functions, like the body's natural detoxification. Although they don't contain sugar, these desserts can trigger an unexpected effect: increased food cravings. This happens because the sweet taste keeps activating the brain's reward centers, even without real glucose in the blood. Because of this, the body feels tricked and sends hunger signals, encouraging excessive consumption of other foods. The result is a silent overload that contributes to fat accumulation and inflammation in the liver, especially in those already showing signs of hepatic steatosis. Another problem is that frequent consumption of artificial sweeteners can alter the balance of the gut microbiome. Studies show these substances negatively affect the good bacteria in the intestine, causing imbalances that directly impact liver health. An inflamed or dysfunctional gut sends toxins to the liver, further increasing oxidative stress and the risk of cell damage in the organ. The link between gut and liver is deep, and any damage to one directly affects the other. Have you ever thought about how many times a week you consume foods with artificial sweeteners? Cakes, yogurts, drinks, sweets, they're everywhere. And the more exposure, the greater the negative impact on liver metabolism. Even if the label says sugar-free, it's essential to check the ingredients and understand what's being offered to your body. Liver health depends on conscious choices, not just on reduced calories. Number 24. Light alcoholic drinks. Many people believe the problem lies only in strong alcoholic drinks like vodka or whiskey. But the truth is, even the so-called light drinks like wine, beer, and liqueurs can cause silent and cumulative damage to the liver. These drinks, even in small amounts, carry substances that overload the liver. If the organ already shows some fat buildup, the effect is even more dangerous, accelerating inflammation and making cell regeneration difficult. The false sense of safety comes from cultural appeal and even studies linking red wine, for example, to cardiovascular benefits. But these benefits are valid only in very specific and controlled contexts and do not cancel out alcohol's harmful effects on the liver. Even occasional consumption can alter liver enzymes, favoring chronic inflammation. It's like adding firewood to a fire that's already burning. The risk increases with every sip. Alcohol, even in moderate doses, directly interferes with the liver's lipid metabolism. This means the organ starts to accumulate fat more easily, besides suffering oxidative stress caused by alcohol metabolism byproducts. It's a dangerous cycle where the liver needs to work twice as hard to process the drink while dealing with excess fat and toxins in the blood. Have you noticed how many times a week you consume light alcoholic beverages? Sometimes it's just a toast, a dinner, a gathering, but the frequency adds up. And the liver, no matter how resistant, has its limits. The problem isn't just the dose, but the silent repetition. The body can handle occasional insults, but not continuous habits. Number 23. Very fatty and industrialized cheeses. They are part of breakfast, snacks, and even dinner. But fatty and industrialized cheeses are a real danger to your liver. Cheeses like Prato, cheddar, and regular cream cheese have high concentrations of saturated fat and sodium, two elements that silently overload the liver. These ingredients require more effort from the body to be metabolized, and this burden falls directly on the liver, the main fat processor. Besides saturated fat, many of these cheeses go through industrial processes that add colorings, preservatives, and emulsifiers. These chemical substances, although legal, are not natural to the human body, and the liver needs to detoxify them. It's a constant task that becomes even harder when combined with frequent ingestion of these foods. The result is an overworked organ, losing efficiency over time. Have you noticed how these cheeses often have a strong flavor and creamy texture? That's due to the addition of fats and additives that enhance the taste, but also increase the risk of liver inflammation. When digested, these products release fatty acids that accumulate in the liver, favoring hepatic steatosis, the infamous fatty liver, which is silent but highly dangerous. There's a belief that light cream cheese or fresh cheese would be healthier, but it's important to check the labels. Many products considered lighter still have high sodium or additives. The ideal is to choose more natural cheeses like ricotta or cottage cheese, always in moderation. The focus should always be on quality and quantity. Number 22. Fatty and processed red meats. When we think of tasty meals, red meats usually top the list. But if they're fatty and eaten excessively, they become a serious threat to liver health. Cuts like picanha, ribs, or hump, rich in saturated fat, demand a lot from the digestive system, and especially from the liver. Saturated fat isn't easily metabolized, accumulating in the liver and favoring inflammation and hepatic steatosis. Besides fat, processed meats, like ready-made burgers, frozen meatballs, and industrially seasoned meats, contain nitrites, preservatives, and additives that make the liver's job even harder. These chemical compounds are absorbed by the body and sent directly to the liver, which needs to filter them. This repeated process day after day leads the organ to exhaustion, and symptoms only appear when damage is already advanced. Another critical point is digestibility. Red meats take longer to digest and require greater metabolic effort. This can generate an accumulation of waste and toxins in the body, forcing the liver to work harder. For people with slower metabolism or a history of liver problems, this process becomes even riskier. Have you thought about how many times a week you consume red meat? Maybe it's time to balance this habit. Reducing the frequency and prioritizing lean cuts, like round or eye of round, can help a lot. Also, varying protein sources, including eggs, legumes, and fish, is a smart way to protect your liver without giving up nutrition. Number 21. Excessive coffee. Coffee is one of the most consumed beverages in the world, and in moderate doses can even bring benefits. However, excessive intake, especially beyond 4 cups a day, can have a direct negative impact on the liver. Caffeine, the main active compound in coffee, intensely stimulates the central nervous system and interferes with hormones like cortisol. When consumed in large amounts, this effect stops being beneficial and turns into overload for liver metabolism. The problem worsens when coffee is consumed with sugar or whole milk. This combination adds simple carbohydrates and saturated fats to the body, demanding even more effort from the liver to process these elements. Over time, this contributes to increased hepatic fat and chronic inflammation, even without apparent symptoms. The liver works silently, and damage accumulates day after day. Have you ever felt irritated, anxious, or had trouble sleeping after drinking a lot of coffee? These signs also indicate the body is suffering from excess stimulation, and the liver is one of the first organs to feel the consequences. Hormonal deregulation caused by high caffeine doses disrupts the internal balance of the body, affecting even fat metabolism and blood sugar control. Many people believe decaffeinated versions would be the solution, but even they, if consumed frequently with sweeteners or artificial milk, can generate toxin accumulation and harm the liver. The secret lies in quantity and quality. 1 or 2 cups a day, without sugar and with natural ingredients, is ideal to enjoy coffee's antioxidant effects without harming the body. Number 20. Canned foods. Practical, cheap, and durable, canned foods seem like an ideal solution for daily life. But when it comes to liver health, they are among the most worrying. Most canned foods contain excessive amounts of sodium, chemical preservatives, and, in many cases, heavy metal residues from the packaging. All these elements force the liver to work beyond normal to process and eliminate them from the body. Excess sodium, present in most canned versions, contributes to fluid retention, increased blood pressure, and liver inflammation. Furthermore, it interferes with toxin filtering by the liver, compromising its detox function. If consumption is frequent, this overload becomes chronic, and the liver may gradually lose its recovery capacity. Added preservatives like nitrates and sulfites also represent a challenge for the liver. These additives are used to preserve foods longer, but in our body, they generate chemical residues that need to be filtered and neutralized. The liver is responsible for this task, and over time, this toxic routine weakens the organ. Do you often use canned corn, peas, or ready-made sauces in your weekly recipes? Maybe it's time to rethink this habit. Switching to fresh, natural options like steamed or homemade vegetables is a simple choice that drastically reduces exposure to substances harmful to the liver. Number 19. Ready-made seasonings. Ready-made seasonings are found in thousands of kitchens. They are quick, practical, and full of flavor. But what few people know is that these products are real chemical bombs for the liver. Among their main components are monosodium glutamate, artificial colorings, and synthetic preservatives. All these ingredients demand huge effort from the liver to be metabolized and eliminated, causing overload and inflammation. Monosodium glutamate, used to enhance flavor, is one of the biggest villains. This additive can provoke adverse reactions in sensitive people and, when consumed frequently, contributes to hepatic oxidative stress. This means it accelerates liver cell aging and reduces its defense capacity against toxins. Also, chronic consumption of this ingredient is associated with metabolic disorders like insulin resistance. Artificial colorings and stabilizers are another group of substances present in these seasonings. They are used to give color and texture to the product, but bring no nutritional benefit. On the contrary, these additives are metabolized with difficulty by the body and end up accumulating in the liver. This accumulation harms liver regeneration and may worsen cases of fatty liver or hepatitis. Another concerning factor is the presence of phosphates in many of these seasonings. These substances, used as stabilizers, impair calcium absorption and may cause mineral imbalances in the body. The liver, once again, needs to compensate for these imbalances, making it even more vulnerable to silent injuries and inflammation. Number 18. Industrialized breakfast cereals. They take a prominent spot on supermarket shelves, often stamped with promises like fitness, rich in vitamins, or energy source. But behind the colorful packaging, industrial breakfast cereals hide a silent danger for the liver. Rich in sugars, artificial colorings, and chemical additives, these ultra-processed products directly overload liver metabolism and contribute to the development of hepatic steatosis. The healthy appearance and marketing aimed at daily convenience mask a worrying reality. Many of these cereals contain up to 40% sugar in their composition. This high glycemic load causes insulin spikes that favor fat accumulation in the liver, besides promoting chronic inflammation. Instead of nourishing the body, these foods just provide quick and harmful energy, forcing the liver to process excess sugars without any nutritional reward. Have you ever looked at the ingredients on a healthy cereal label? Words like glucose syrup, maltodextrin, flavorings, and stabilizers appear frequently. All this represents extra work for the liver. It's like running an engine at full speed all the time. Sooner or later it will fail. The same goes for our liver. It can handle a lot, but it has limits. Another important point is that these cereals, no matter how fit they seem, rarely contain real fibers. And the absence of fibers means sugar absorption will be even faster, generating more work for the liver and more fat accumulated in liver cells. This worsens insulin resistance and obesity, creating fertile ground for metabolic diseases. Number 17. Milk chocolate and artificial chocolate drinks. Irresistible for many people, milk chocolates and industrial chocolate drinks are real traps for liver health. Filled with sugar, hydrogenated fat, and chemical additives, these products seem harmless in small portions but cause significant damage when part of a routine. The liver, which already handles numerous vital functions, needs to devote extra energy to processing and neutralizing the effects of these substances. The combination of sugar and hydrogenated fat is especially dangerous. Sugar causes blood glucose spikes, requiring large insulin releases, which favor hepatic fat accumulation. Hydrogenated fat, present in many low-quality chocolates and artificial chocolate drinks, causes inflammation in liver cell membranes, making regeneration difficult and contributing to long-term hepatic dysfunction. Have you noticed how consumption of chocolate and chocolate drinks can be addictive? This happens because these products stimulate brain areas linked to pleasure and sweet cravings. This cycle of continuous consumption leads to chronic exposure to harmful sugars and fats, silently and progressively overloading the liver. The danger increases when consumption is automatic, like at breakfast or as a snack between meals. Many people believe the solution is to replace with diet or zero-sugar chocolate, but these products usually contain artificial sweeteners, which also overload the liver. The healthier alternative is to choose chocolates with high cocoa content, above 70%, and in small portions. Real cocoa, in its less processed form, may even offer beneficial antioxidants. Number 16. Energy drinks. They promise alertness, focus, and immediate energy. But the cost of this promise can be high, especially for the liver. Energy drinks combine high doses of caffeine with taurine, artificial sweeteners, colorings, and other chemical additives. This powerful mixture overloads the body, and the first organ to suffer the consequences is precisely the liver, responsible for filtering all these substances. Besides, caffeine, taurine, and other stimulant compounds cause changes in cellular metabolism. The liver, already busy with its natural filtering routine, needs to handle an extra volume of toxins and chemicals. This overload favors inflammation of liver tissue and can worsen cases of steatosis, silent hepatitis, and even cirrhosis, especially when combined with other bad habits like sedentary lifestyle and poor diet. Another dangerous factor is consuming these drinks on an empty stomach or before physical activity. At these moments, the body is more vulnerable to aggressive stimuli, and the liver can be especially affected. The rapid absorption of ingredients increases their concentration in the blood, demanding immediate action from the liver to control adverse effects. This extra effort can be dangerous and cause long-term consequences. Have you ever had palpitations, anxiety, or headache after drinking an energy drink? These symptoms reflect the impact of these substances on your nervous system and liver. They are warning signs that should not be ignored. Even if the initial feeling is of increased energy, the metabolic cost is high, and the damage may not appear immediately, but accumulates over time. Number 15. Industrial sliced bread. It seems harmless, appears at breakfasts, quick snacks, and even in diets that claim to be balanced. But industrial sliced bread is a disguised trap, especially for those who want to preserve liver health. Packed with chemical additives, preservatives, fats, and often added sugar, this food is highly processed and requires extra effort from a liver to be metabolized and neutralized. One of the main problems lies in the presence of refined flours. This type of flour is quickly converted into glucose in the body, causing blood sugar spikes. This not only stimulates insulin production but also favors fat accumulation in the liver, a condition known as hepatic steatosis. What seems like a simple sandwich may be contributing to a silent but extremely dangerous problem. Moreover, many industrial sliced breads contain high fructose corn syrup, one of the worst types of sugar for the liver. Excess fructose is metabolized directly by the liver and, when consumed frequently, turns into intrahepatic fat. The result is an overloaded, inflamed liver with compromised detox function. This affects the entire body metabolism. Have you checked the ingredients on the label of the bread you consume? Many brands add vegetable fat, sugar, salt, and series of preservatives to ensure durability and flavor. The consumer, in the rush of daily life, doesn't even notice they are ingesting a combination that demands toxic effort from a liver with every bite. Convenience turns into risk when consumption becomes routine. Number 14. Condensed milk. Delicious, versatile, and loved in desserts worldwide, condensed milk is unfortunately one of the worst foods for those who want to preserve liver health. Rich in sugar and fat in very high proportions, it represents a true glycemic and lipid bomb. This combination causes extreme effort for the liver to metabolize the excess glucose while also dealing with saturated fat overload. A single spoonful of condensed milk can contain more than 10 g of sugar, in addition to a significant amount of fat. This glucose spike causes a sharp increase in insulin, which in turn stimulates fat storage, especially in the liver. When consumed frequently, even in small amounts, condensed milk decisively contributes to hepatic steatosis. Besides sugar and fat, condensed milk contains additives and stabilizers that, combined with its high caloric index, slow digestion and are harmful. The liver has to work twice as hard to neutralize the metabolic effects of this food. This generates cell inflammation, toxin accumulation, and loss of efficiency in the body's detoxification process. The result? A swollen, inflamed liver more prone to failure. Have you ever stopped to think about how many recipes contain condensed milk? Cakes, pies, brigadeiros, desserts, it's present in a large part of sweet preparations. The problem isn't occasional consumption, but the frequency with which this ingredient appears in everyday eating. Repeated exposure to such a concentrated sugar and fat food is a risk unnoticed by many. Number 13. Ready-made sauces. They are practical, tasty, and capable of transforming any simple dish into a more attractive meal. But ready-made sauces like ketchup, barbecue, and salad dressings are dangerous for liver health. Full of hidden sugar, chemical preservatives, and artificial additives, these products directly affect liver function, even when consumed in small, frequent amounts. The first big villain of these sauces is sugar. Many sauces have more sugar per spoon than a soda. This sugar is often disguised on labels as corn syrup, maltodextrin, or fructose, but the effect on the body is the same. Glucose spikes, increased insulin, and in the long run, fat buildup in the liver. This favors the development of hepatic steatosis and reduces the organ's detox function. Besides sugar, these sauces are loaded with sodium and preservatives. Excess sodium causes fluid retention, increased blood pressure, and stress on the kidneys and liver. Preservatives like sodium benzoate and nitrites demand extra work from the liver to be metabolized. This continuous effort weakens liver cells and accelerates inflammatory processes that go unnoticed day to day. Many ready sauces also contain flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, which increase food palatability and encourage excessive consumption. This affects both the digestive system and the liver, as it increases caloric intake without the person realizing it. The body starts storing more fat, and the liver becomes the main deposit for these empty calories. The healthier alternative is to prepare sauces at home with fresh, natural ingredients. A simple homemade tomato sauce, made with tomatoes, garlic, onion, and herbs, is much more nutritious and liver-friendly. Yogurt-based or olive oil dressings are also excellent options for salads, without the harmful additives of industrialized versions. Number 12. Ultra-processed foods. They are crunchy, tasty, colorful, and extremely popular. But ultra-processed foods like packaged snacks, filled cookies, industrial snacks, and similar represent a serious and ongoing threat to liver health. Full of chemical additives, colorings, preservatives, and bad fats, these products are silent enemies causing cumulative damage over time. The big danger lies in the composition of these foods. They are mostly made with low nutritional value and highly inflammatory ingredients. Refined flours, hydrogenated oils, sugar, and excess salt form the base of these formulas, which undergo intense industrial processing. When ingested, they force the liver to work at an accelerated pace to metabolize an avalanche of artificial and potentially toxic substances. Have you ever felt heavy, sleepy, or without energy after eating this type of food? That is a sign your body, especially your liver, is overloaded. Every additive needs to be processed by the hepatic system. When this happens frequently, the liver starts losing its regenerative capacity, making room for fat buildup, inflammation, and liver lesions. Replacing these products with natural options like nuts, unsweetened dried fruits, homemade popcorn, or real whole grain cookies is already a big step. Liver health depends on conscious choices. Cutting ultra-processed foods is one of the most important decisions to regain balance and ensure the liver continues functioning efficiently throughout life. Number 11. Industrialized mayonnaise. Present in sandwiches, salads, and various sauces, industrial mayonnaise is another invisible enemy of the liver. Although seen as a simple complement, this product concentrates ingredients extremely harmful to liver metabolism. Among them are refined soybean oil, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and excess sodium, all capable of promoting inflammation and liver overload. The main ingredient in mayonnaise, refined vegetable oil, is an inflammatory fat that directly interferes with the membranes of liver cells. When consumed regularly, this type of oil alters the body's lipid balance, favoring fat formation in the liver and increased triglycerides. This negatively impacts the entire metabolic system, and the liver suffers the consequences. Have you noticed how a spoonful of mayonnaise can change the taste of food? This is no accident. The excess salt, fats, and flavor enhancers cause the brain to associate the product with immediate pleasure. This leads to unconscious and excessive consumption, making mayonnaise a harmful eating habit unnoticed by most people. Simple substitutions can bring great benefits. Homemade sauces based on natural yogurt, olive oil, avocado, or pure mustard are much healthier and tastier alternatives. These natural ingredients provide good fats and antioxidants that protect the liver instead of overloading it. The change may seem small, but the impact on your liver health will be huge. Number 10. Fast food. Perhaps no other item on the list represents so well the combination of everything that harms the liver like fast food. Foods such as industrialized burgers, pizzas loaded with fat and cheese, super sugary milkshakes, and fried foods form a real storm of inflammatory, caloric, and toxic ingredients. Frequent consumption of these foods is one of the biggest accelerators of liver damage today. Fast food is based on ultra-processed ingredients, rich in saturated and trans fats, white flour, excess salt, and refined sugar. This combination generates an extremely high metabolic load, forcing the liver to work double to handle glycemic peaks, oxidized lipids, and chemical additives present in every meal. The result is a silent but constant overload that damages liver cells. Have you ever felt tired or unwell after a fast food meal? That's a reflection of a body struggling to detoxify. The liver tries to process the ingested elements, but many are hard to metabolize, like trans fats, which accumulate and cause internal inflammation. Over time, this results in fatty liver, loss of liver function, and risks of serious diseases. Fast food is also often consumed with sodas, fries, and industrialized desserts. This food combo generates a devastating cumulative effect on the liver. Occasional consumption already represents considerable effort, but when it becomes habitual, the impact is profound and difficult to reverse. Symptoms may take a while to show, but the damage is certain. Number 9. Processed and smoked meats. Crispy bacon at breakfast, sliced salami in the afternoon snack. These foods are common in many eating routines, but carry huge risks for liver health. Processed and smoked meats are rich in saturated fats, sodium, and mainly in carcinogenic chemical compounds that need to be metabolized by the liver. This continuous and exhausting process causes inflammation and contributes to silent liver diseases. These foods undergo intense industrial processes involving nitrates, nitrites, preservatives, and artificial smoke. All these components are toxic to the body and must be filtered by the liver. Metabolizing these compounds can form carcinogenic substances like nitrosamines, which directly damage liver cells and increase the risk of tumors in the liver. Have you noticed how these meats are intensely salty and flavored? That's the result of processes that increase their palatability and make consumption automatic, almost addictive. The problem is that this momentary pleasure comes at a high long-term cost. The liver, which processes toxins, fats, and proteins, becomes overloaded by elements it can't eliminate quickly. Additionally, these smoked meats often contain heavy metal residues and industrial smoke elements, which contribute to oxidative stress. Over time, this reduces the efficiency of liver enzymes and worsens pre-existing diseases like non-alcoholic fatty hepatitis. It's damage that accumulates without immediate signs, making it even more dangerous. Number 8. Cold cuts. Practical, accessible, and present in sandwiches, snacks, and quick meals, cold cuts are among the most dangerous food groups for liver health. Products like sausage, ham, mortadella, and industrial sausages contain alarming levels of sodium, chemical preservatives, colorings, and bad fats. All these elements make these foods highly inflammatory and toxic to the liver. The biggest villain in this group is sodium nitrite, used as a preservative and color enhancer. In the body, this compound can turn into nitrosamine, a carcinogenic substance the liver needs to metabolize and neutralize. This process demands great effort from the organ and, when repeated frequently, causes oxidative stress, cell damage, and chronic liver tissue inflammation. Besides nitrites, cold cuts are extremely rich in sodium. Excess salt consumption is associated with fluid retention, high blood pressure, and renal and hepatic overload. The liver, as a fundamental part of the body's filtration system, is directly impacted by this electrolyte imbalance. This hampers its detox function and reduces its ability to metabolize other substances efficiently. Have you noticed how strong and often addictive these products taste? That's due to the use of flavor enhancers and the combination of fat and salt, which stimulate the brain and create a feeling of food reward. The problem is that this reward comes with a high cost to your liver, which has to work intensely to deal with the effects of these harmful ingredients. Number 7. Margarine and hydrogenated vegetable fat. For decades, margarine was promoted as a healthier alternative to butter. However, more recent studies show that it is one of the biggest threats to the liver due to containing hydrogenated vegetable fat, also known as trans fat. This type of fat is highly inflammatory and deeply damages liver cell membranes, compromising its regeneration capacity and metabolic function. Trans fat alters the structure of liver cells, making it difficult for nutrients to enter and toxins to be eliminated. This directly affects the liver's efficiency and favors fat accumulation, leading to hepatic steatosis. Additionally, this type of fat is associated with high LDL, bad cholesterol, and reduced HDL, good cholesterol, impacting both cardiovascular and hepatic systems simultaneously. Did you know margarine is still used in many industrialized foods like cookies, cakes, snacks, and even some breads? This means many people unknowingly consume trans fat daily. The greater the exposure, the bigger the negative impact on the liver. It's a silent but extremely relevant risk. The good news is there are much healthier alternatives. Replacing margarine with extra virgin olive oil, natural coconut oil, or even butter in small amounts significantly reduces the impact on the liver. These are simple but powerful choices that help preserve this vital organ and keep metabolism balanced. Number 6. Fried foods. Crunchy, golden, and irresistible, fried foods are part of many people's palate. However, behind the tasty appearance, they hide one of the greatest threats to the liver. Foods like pastel, fries, coxinha, and nuggets are highly inflammatory and oxidative. When subjected to high temperatures, the oils used in frying degrade, forming toxic compounds the liver must process, compromising its health and functionality. One of the biggest dangers lies in trans and saturated fats present both in ingredients and reused oils. These lipids damage liver cell membranes, interfering with fat metabolism and bile production. Frequent consumption of fried foods favors fat accumulation in the liver and contributes to steatosis, a condition that can evolve into more severe cases like fibrosis and cirrhosis. Have you ever thought about the quality of oil used in fried foods you eat out? Often, this oil is reused many times, which significantly increases its toxicity. Additionally, products like nuggets and frozen fries already contain additives and preservatives that become even more harmful when fried. It's a combo of substances that challenges the liver's defense capacity. To preserve the liver, it's worth betting on healthier cooking techniques such as baking, grilling, steaming, or using an air fryer without oil. Also, investing in natural and fiber-rich ingredients helps the liver metabolize fats better and stay functional. Giving up fried foods daily is a gesture of care that directly reflects on your liver's health and longevity. Number 5. White flour. It's present on breakfast tables at lunch and dinner. White flour, the base for breads, pastas, cakes, and other popular foods, is one of the main contributors to fat accumulation in the liver. Because it's highly refined and poor in fiber, it's quickly transformed into glucose in the body, causing insulin spikes and stimulating hepatic fat storage. The big problem with white flour is its rapid absorption. Unlike whole grains, which contain fiber and nutrients, refined flour loses much of its properties during processing. This makes it behave almost like pure sugar in the body, raising glucose levels in the blood and forcing the liver to make extra effort to handle the excess energy. Have you noticed how many meals in your day include white flour? Bread at breakfast, pasta at lunch, cake at snack time. This eating pattern is extremely common, but also very dangerous. The liver is constantly forced to deal with glucose and fat overload, compromising its detox function and its ability to regenerate. Another important point is the presence of additives and preservatives in industrialized foods that use white flour. These compounds further increase the product's toxicity and, upon entering the body, overload the liver with chemical elements it needs to filter and neutralize. The result is a weakened, inflamed organ more vulnerable to diseases. Number 4. Industrialized ice cream. Colorful, creamy, and associated with moments of pleasure, industrialized ice cream is one of the most consumed foods during hot periods and celebrations. However, it carries in its composition a combination extremely harmful to the liver: large amounts of refined sugar, saturated fat, and a series of chemical additives. This trio is responsible for overloading the liver and accelerating hepatic fat accumulation. The main problem with ice cream is the combination of sugar and fat. This combination strongly stimulates insulin production and favors fat storage in liver cells. Frequent consumption of ice cream leads to hepatic steatosis, a silent condition that, if untreated, can evolve into chronic inflammation, fibrosis, and even cirrhosis. Additionally, the chemical additives used to give flavor, color, and texture to ice cream, like emulsifiers, thickeners, and artificial colorings, are metabolized exclusively by the liver. These compounds generate oxidative stress, impair cell regeneration, and hinder the body's natural detox process. The liver, in trying to neutralize these substances, consumes precious resources that could be used for other vital functions. Another worrying factor is frequent consumption, especially among children and adolescents. The habit of eating industrial ice cream as dessert, snack, or reward creates a cycle of sugar and fat dependence that deeply impacts liver health. And the earlier this pattern starts, the higher the long-term risks. Number 3. White and refined sugars. From sweetened coffee to elaborate desserts, white sugar is present in almost every daily meal. But its apparent innocence hides one of the biggest causes of liver diseases today. Excessive consumption of refined sugar stimulates fat formation in the liver, promotes chronic inflammation, and interferes with the functioning of various essential metabolic functions. It's a sweet ingredient to the palate, but bitter for liver health. When ingested, sugar is rapidly transformed into glucose and fructose. The latter, especially, is metabolized almost exclusively by the liver. When in excess, fructose is converted into triglycerides, which accumulate in liver cells and initiate hepatic steatosis. It's a silent process, but extremely dangerous, often showing no visible symptoms until more advanced stages. Another side effect of refined sugar is increased insulin resistance. With frequent blood glucose spikes, the body begins to lose sensitivity to the hormone that controls these levels. This directly affects liver function, which starts storing even more fat and suffers from inflammatory effects of this imbalance. The result is an inflamed, congested organ prone to metabolic failures. Have you ever wondered how much sugar you consume in a single day? It's present not only in sweets and sugary drinks, but also in sauces, breads, cereals, and even foods considered savory. This constant presence demands continuous effort from the liver to balance the body, increasing the risk of cell damage and hepatic overload. Furthermore, refined sugar weakens the immune system and accelerates cellular aging. These effects impair the liver's ability to regenerate and increase vulnerability to infections and other complications. The body begins to accumulate toxins that the liver can no longer process as effectively, favoring the onset of silent liver diseases. Number 2. Sodas. Colorful, fizzy, and apparently refreshing, sodas, both regular and zero versions, are direct enemies of the liver. These products are rich in fructose, artificial colorings, phosphates, and chemical additives that overload hepatic metabolism and favor fat formation in the liver. The light appearance and sweet taste hide an inflammatory bomb that deeply affects liver function. Regular soda contains very high amounts of sugar, especially in the form of high fructose corn syrup. This substance is metabolized directly by the liver and, in excess, turns into fat that accumulates in liver cells. The result is hepatic steatosis, which can progress to inflammation, fibrosis, and even cirrhosis if consumption is not controlled. You might think the zero version is a safe option, but it also brings serious risks. These products contain artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, as well as preservatives and acidulants that affect the liver differently, but equally harmfully. These chemical compounds alter the gut flora and generate toxic byproducts that the liver needs to process, increasing its workload. Additionally, sodas contain phosphates that interfere with calcium metabolism and harm the body's mineral balance. This imbalance affects not only the bones but also the liver, which needs to adjust its functions to compensate for metabolic damage. Over time, this overload directly impacts hepatic health and favors chronic inflammation. Did you know a single can of soda can contain more than 10 teaspoons of sugar? And even if it is not consumed daily, the accumulated effect of these ingredients impacts the liver in the long term. Occasional consumption, when repeated frequently, becomes a harmful habit that silently wears down the organ. Replacing sodas with natural drinks like lemon water, unsweetened iced tea, coconut water, or diluted juices is a simple and powerful way to lighten the liver's work. The palate can adapt, and healthy choices bring visible results in a short time. Saying goodbye to sodas is a fundamental step to keeping your liver clean, strong, and fully functioning. Number 1. Alcoholic beverages. Wine, beer, spirits, and liqueurs, regardless of the form, alcohol is one of the biggest liver aggressors. Even in small amounts and social consumption, it causes inflammation, liver cell death, and prevents the liver from performing its functions efficiently. It is the main villain of hepatic destruction and responsible for millions of cases of serious liver diseases worldwide. The liver is the organ responsible for metabolizing alcohol, turning it into less toxic substances for the body. However, this process releases free radicals and highly inflammatory byproducts like acetaldehyde, which damage liver cells. Over time, this generates scarring, fibrosis, and can evolve into conditions like alcoholic hepatitis, cirrhosis, and even liver cancer. You might think only heavy drinkers are at risk, but studies show even moderate doses of alcohol, like a glass of wine a day, increase the risk of fatty liver, especially when combined with other factors like poor diet and sedentary lifestyle. The liver has a limited capacity for regeneration, and each dose of alcohol consumes part of that reserve. Another worrying factor is that alcohol dehydrates the body, increases oxidative stress, and interferes with the absorption of essential nutrients. All this reduces the liver's detox capacity and compromises its metabolic function. Additionally, alcohol increases appetite for fatty and processed foods, creating a harmful consumption cycle that further overloads the body. Have you noticed how alcohol consumption is often associated with ultra-processed snacks and poor sleep? This pattern affects the body integrally and especially overloads the liver. Even without apparent symptoms, damage accumulates silently over the years, making diagnosis harder and treatment more complex. The best way to protect the liver is to avoid alcohol, or at least drastically reduce its consumption. Replacing alcoholic drinks with natural juices, teas, or non-alcoholic cocktails is a practical and enjoyable way to take care of your health. Your liver is responsible for more than 500 vital functions. It deserves care, attention, and choices that prioritize your well-being in the long run. And now, let's talk about good habits for the liver. Habit 3. Avoid alcohol and refined sugar. Avoiding alcohol and refined sugar is one of the most effective moves for anyone wanting to reverse fatty liver disease. These two are proven to be the biggest culprits when it comes to fat buildup in the liver. Alcohol, even in small regular amounts, can seriously mess with liver function. Refined sugar found in sweets, sodas, and ultra-processed foods quickly turns into fat in the liver. Cutting out these habits is a real step forward toward liver health recovery. The liver is the main organ responsible for metabolizing alcohol, and when overloaded, it can't do its basic jobs efficiently. Also, alcohol causes inflammation and speeds up fat deposits in liver cells. Refined sugar raises insulin resistance and encourages visceral fat storage. This kind of fat is dangerous and sneaky, easily piling up in the liver, and hard to get rid of without real changes in diet. So, cutting out these ingredients isn't just necessary, it's urgent. Studies show that after just 2 to 3 weeks without alcohol or refined sugar, you can already see improvements in liver function tests. The reduction of inflammation and fat buildup inside the liver tends to be quick and noticeable. That means the body reacts positively to good choices as long as you stick with them. People who ditch sodas, sweets, cakes, and alcoholic drinks often report more energy and less belly discomfort. It's a change that starts inside and shows up all over the body. Of course, making this change isn't easy for everyone, especially if sugar or alcohol have been part of your daily life for years. But it's totally doable, and more than that, worth it. Simple swaps like trading sodas for water with lemon or natural unsweetened juices make a big difference. And instead of alcohol, a nice cup of herbal tea can relax you and still help your liver. Small, consistent swaps add up to a powerful effect on liver and overall health. Another smart move is to avoid places or situations that push these habits, like parties with lots of drinks or grabbing that little sweet after lunch. Knowing your triggers is an important step in taking control of your own health. Keeping your house free of industrial sweets and preferring natural foods helps a lot too. Reading labels, for example, can reveal crazy amounts of sugar where you wouldn't expect it. Being aware and well-informed makes all the difference in this transformation process. Over time, your body adjusts to the absence of these excesses and starts working better. Digestion improves, sleep gets deeper, and energy levels rise. All of this reflects the liver working efficiently, free from the toxic load caused by drinks and refined sugars. This result doesn't come from miracle formulas, but from commitment to making better choices every day. Avoiding alcohol and sugar isn't a sacrifice. It's a form of self-care with lasting benefits. Habit 2. Eat slowly and chew well. Eating slowly is a simple practice, but super powerful for liver health. When we chew food well, it helps digestion and stops the liver system from getting overloaded. The liver works less when the stomach receives food already broken down and processed well by the mouth. This reduces toxin and fat buildup, promoting better liver function. Eating fast, on the other hand, raises the chance of incomplete digestion and unwanted fermentation. Also, chewing well activates digestive enzymes in saliva that prepare the food for the next steps in digestion. This means the intestine and liver have less work to do, which helps avoid inflammation and fat buildup. Another important thing is feeling full. People who eat slowly feel satisfied with less food. That helps with weight control, a key factor for those fighting fatty liver. Often, rushing meals comes with bad choices. Fast food, ultra-processed stuff, and huge portions end up eaten without attention or control. Building the habit of calm meals without distractions like TV or phone totally changes your relationship with food. It makes eating more mindful, which directly affects liver health. Every meal turns into a chance to care for your body. Chewing well also improves absorption of key nutrients for the liver, like B vitamins and antioxidants. These compounds are crucial for cell regeneration and fighting oxidative stress in the liver. Poorly chewed food isn't just badly absorbed, it ferments in the gut and can create toxins that overload the liver. So, eating slowly isn't just a ritual, it's real care for your health. Another point is the emotional impact of eating fast. Quick meals link to more anxiety, binge eating, and even hormonal imbalances. Eating slowly creates a moment to connect with your body, lowers stress, and improves digestion. This benefits the liver directly since hormones like cortisol negatively affect its function. Emotional well-being is deeply connected to liver health. Finally, if you want to see real results reversing liver fat, watch how you eat, not just what you eat. Eating mindfully, chewing well, and savoring food might be the missing piece for your recovery. It's a free, easy, and effective practice. Just sit at the table calmly, turn off distractions, and give your body the time it deserves. Your liver will thank you, and so will your whole health. Habit 1. Sleep well. Sleeping well is one of the least appreciated pillars of liver health, but it makes all the difference. During deep sleep, the liver goes through intense cell regeneration and toxin filtering. When sleep is interrupted or not enough, this process gets harmed, leaving the liver vulnerable to fat buildup. That's why bad night's sleep are one of the factors that promote fatty liver progression. Rest is literally a nighttime treatment for the liver. Studies show that people sleeping less than 6 hours a night are more likely to develop insulin resistance, obesity, and inflammation. All of these factors directly overload the liver. Sleeping well, on the other hand, regulates appetite hormones, improves glucose metabolism, and reduces stress. These combined effects are essential to fight liver fat and restore organ function. Sleep is the most powerful and free natural medicine there is. Besides that, the liver has its own biological rhythm tied to the circadian cycle. It works better when we respect regular sleep times and wake up with natural light. Sleeping late or at odd hours messes up this cycle and lowers the liver's efficiency in eliminating toxins. That's why going to bed early and keeping a fixed sleep routine can speed up detox and liver regeneration. Deep rest is a true ally of healing. Another key point is the drop in cortisol levels that happens during sleep. Too much of this hormone, released during stress, harms liver health. When we sleep well, the body regulates cortisol and helps keep metabolism balanced. This lowers the risk of fat buildup and improves the liver's inflammatory response. A good night's sleep is way more effective than any supplement. To sleep better, some simple steps can help. Avoid bright lights at night, cut down screen time before bed, create a quiet, cool environment, and have a relaxing routine. Avoiding heavy meals at night also helps with a more peaceful, restorative sleep. All of this directly impacts liver health, which needs this downtime to recover and strengthen. Rest is a key part of healing. If you want to fight liver fat efficiently, start prioritizing your sleep. Sleeping well isn't a luxury, it's a physiological need. With 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep each night, your body goes into recovery mode and the liver works at full capacity. Small changes to nighttime habits can bring big improvements to liver health. Don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. And if you want to keep receiving the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel because it exists for only one reason: to make you a healthier person with better quality of life. Helping you is my mission. In the video now appearing on your screen, I reveal a plant to consume before sleeping that will make you wake up without joint pain. Click on the screen and check it out.